Jasprit Bumrah being ruled out due to a back niggle. Umesh Yadav has been called to replace Bumrah, who has been India's best bowler ever since his test debut back in 2018. The test series will test our dependence on the aced fast bowler. Bumrah's action too has come under scrutiny since many legends have questioned the pace he generates despite a slow run-up or a short run-up as well. Many consider that this puts a lot of strain on his lower and lumbar area, hence making him prone to further injuries. Whether it's true or not, Nikhil, I want first of all to tell me that what do you make of Jasprit Bumrah's absence? He's been a vital cog in India's victories. We saw what he did in West Indies, though he has been given rest by the management and the captain, and rightly so. But his action is also something that we will talk about. First of all, tell me the
long process, but I really hope that as physio has been talking, his injury has been caught at a very early stage, so that can be an advantage to him. But prayers for him, and we want him back, because Bumrah, we all know, Bumrah, at his peak, he can create havoc in the lineup of any batting lineup in the world.
Well, unfortunately, he won't be available for those test matches against the Proteas. But Nikhil, let me in fact read out something that has been observed for Jasprit Bumrah by Dr. Simon Feroz, who is a functional anatomy expert, and he goes on to say that Bumrah tends to release the ball outside the line of the front foot. This means he can push at the ball, resulting in an excellent in-swing delivery to a right-hand batsman. If Bumrah exceeds the 45-degree angle of the trunk lateral flexion, then his element of his action may pose a lot of injury concerns to the back and the vertebrae. Well, this is coming from a doctor, so definitely there is some concern with Bumrah's action, and that cannot be good news. I mean, even in the long run. I know you are an eternal optimist.
No, absolutely. No, but these are at least good things, like Ricky said as well, that if you can catch an injury early on, we all know, his action makes him special. Now with his action, he's obviously bound to have some sort of limitations, like those numbers and the technical details, that if you catch them early on, it's very simple. You have these biomechanics, you get a video, you get him to bowl and tell him this is how far you can go and you won't get injured in terms of your action. Sure. Try and refrain from doing this. Get him to do the wrong thing, and then also tell him to do the right thing, because you see, something that he's been doing from a childhood, he has to literally wipe out the memory from his hard drive in his head and say, you're looking to retrain your body mechanics in your bowling action. It won't be easy. You'll be looking to bowl thousands and thousands of delivery, trying to tell your body, this is the correct way. If I keep doing what I was doing, I'll keep getting injured. Because if you catch it in time, then you also must have a rehab and a recovery process in your head as well. The sooner you do it, the better it is. I look at Jasprit Bumrah, to be honest, if I was part of the decision making at this moment of time, with the kind of talent that Jasprit Bumrah has, I'll only get him to play T20s, limited overs, and all the test matches in overseas conditions. I would not look to play him in home conditions, because there's no point getting him to bowl 30 to 35 overs in a test match in India when I have other people who are capable of doing a job or creating pressure, because the bulk of the wickets are going to be got by the spinners.
Ritinder, according to Nikhil Chopra, Jasprit Bumrah has to be used sparingly. He is the #1 test bowler. I beg your pardon, he's the #1 ODI bowler and the #3 test bowler, but his action is what has gotten him this far, and experts also believe it is his action which is also going to give him some niggles and some problems in the future. Now, we've seen that a lot of stalwarts, who have generated pace and played for India, be it Balaji or Ashish Nehra, they have all been smitten by a lot of injuries because of their action, or the kind of pitches that they played, or the kind of workload that they were subjected to. How should the management use Jasprit Bumrah? There is a faction that believes that he should only be used for T20s and ODIs, and Test cricket is something, at home at least, and Nikhil also concurs to that, Test cricket is something that he should only play outside of the subcontinent. What are your thoughts on this?
Look, Vineet, it's a very important point because injury at this stage of his career, now even the management will be thinking that we have to use him very smartly because before the injury, we might have thought Test cricket, ODI, he'll be your premier bowler. But now that's not the case. If you want him to play for India for longer time, you got to give him the shorter games and use him smartly, give him Test match here and there. And talking about the action, I totally agree with the experts. But Vineet, with my experience, Nikhil sitting there, we know in cricket that these actions, you have been bowling with these actions since the age of 9 years. When you were just 9, you took on this game of cricket, and changing it all of a sudden, it's very, very difficult. So important is that he has to work around it. Little changes here and there can help him, but most important is, first of all, he has to nurse his injury and make a comeback, and make a subtle comeback. He need not rush on it.
All right, Nikhil, do you also feel that Bumrah is perhaps pushing the envelope, or he's overdoing things? You know, he's also started generating pace, and you know, he's bowling Yorkers at his own will. Now he's also got that outswinger. You know, so there is no dearth of talent and variations for this gentleman. That definitely has to take a toll on a person's body.
Without a doubt, but we need, you know, in international sport, that's his uniqueness. And the beauty about it is that he's striving for more, he's hungry for more. You know, he's not stopped learning. He's developed that outswinger as well. The body will take its toll, and we all know the kind of action that he's had. You know, it might be injury prone, but that's his uniqueness as well. You know, if you remember Balaji as well, he had a similar back issue, and I don't know, I hope that
he had a few surgeries as well.
Exactly. I hope it doesn't go to that extent, because what we hear is that at least Jasprit Bumrah, you've caught the niggle or the issue in time. So hopefully it's not going to be easy. Make no mistake about it that, you know, change, remodel bowling action, and then try and be as lethal as earlier you were. You know, because Ricky, like he said, he's had a few stress fractures. I hope this stress fracture is not that big for Jasprit Bumrah. You'll have to be very careful, get the right sort of treatment, get the right sort of rehab, and then once you're 100%, only then make a comeback. Don't rush back into coming back after a back injury, because it can bite you, it can hurt you twice as bad.
Right, and you know, Ricky, it's very important to understand that the World T20 is going to be played next year, and right before that, you also have the IPL, which most cricketers, you know, prefer to play because, you know, it kind of warms them up, and a lot of people who are in fact looking to be selected in the Indian team or want to come, you know, in the fray of things, usually prefer to play that. Do you think Jasprit Bumrah should also himself sort of opt out of certain tournaments? You know, this time it's the management's call, but he knows his body best.
Yeah, that is again a very valid point, Vineet. He really has to think now. Only he knows the extent of his injury, because once you have that niggle, once you have that pain in your back, it creates shivers in your back. So I can assure you that till the time Bumrah knows that he's able to play, he's able to get on the field fully fit, and the injury will not occur again, only then he'll make a comeback. And talking about IPL or any other international game, first priority is, paramount thing is to get fit and get on the park, and then cricket will take care of itself.
Right, and you know, Nikhil, what is it about fast bowling in today's times that you know, actually makes a lot of pacers prone to injuries? Because I remember Kapil Dev, he never sat out of a game owing to an injury. What was different about, you know, those days?
Well,
was it a lot of cricket?
To be honest, you know, if you're looking at maybe 200 fast bowlers or maybe 150 fast bowlers that have played, Kapil Dev's probably been that one alone man who hasn't been injured. But, you know, looking at maybe 20 years ago in comparison to now, the only logical thing that comes to mind beneath is why fast bowlers got injured is when you're playing Ranji Trophy and first class cricket. This is when I played for India as well. You had different ways of training. A fast bowler, you know, during Ranji Trophy season never trained as when he got graduated to start looking to play for India. All of a sudden you're running 40 minutes, 50 minutes, you're doing strides, sprints, everything, and then you have the workload of international cricket. So it was all unaccustomed use for the muscles. And then, you know, it's bound to break down. But now from Ranji Trophy, what Virat Kohli's done, you know, you're looking at the yo-yo test at 16.1. Most first-class sides, and I think Ricky would know a little more on that as well. Most first-class sides now have parameters set that you need to pass a yo-yo test of minimum 15.5 or close to 15.8. Only then you can make it to the side. So you've got similar sort of training from first class cricket to when you graduate and play for India. So, you know, you've literally closed the gap. You're bridging the gap between first class cricket and international cricket. So there's no unaccustomed use. But now that new training methods that are coming through, like I said, I'd like to dig a little more deep. When you have all these fast bowlers doing clean and jerk, there's a lot of weights being pumped in and emphasis. If it's a bad technique, that could also injure you. So you got to be a little careful, even in the training patterns as well, because BCCI, you know, what I know is you've got some of the world's best trainers in there as well. And I'm sure with these injuries mounting up, you have some very able people in the BCCI with people like Sabah Karim who played the game as well. They'd be wanting to dig a little deep and trying to find out, why is this happening? Do we need to change a couple of things? With this injury coming, I'm sure they've already started thinking back and trying to, you know, make an amends if needed.
Absolutely. And how does this in fact pivot the opposition against the Indian test side? Ricky, the opposition is definitely going to be celebrating that Jasprit Bumrah is not going to be part of the attack. They already sort of undid us in the last T20. So when they get into that first test on 2nd of October, they will be ambling with a lot of positivity and confidence. How does Virat Kohli make them get rid of it?
Virat Kohli has lots of bowlers, Vineet. We have a pool of bowlers now. It might not hurt Team India, but if South Africa, they are feeling that they are happy that Bumrah is out now, they can be forced to reckon with, but then they'll be thinking very wrong. They will be very complacent because we have that firepower. We have that fast bowling unit which can hurt South Africa with the new ball. So that is not the case for worry, at least for now, for Team India.
Right, that is not the case to worry, you know, but there are chinks in our armor which the South African side is going to be willing to exploit. And, you know, they have a few uncapped players in this side as well. And we saw how unpredictable and, you know, they had a method to their madness. Is that something that we are supposed to watch out when we start the test series with them?
Without a doubt, Vineet, and I think in international sport, that's the beauty. That the unknown commodity, as I like to call them sometimes, you know, can come back and really hurt you, because what happens is you've got video analysts, you know, people who you know about, who've done well in international cricket. You know their strengths and weaknesses. During team meetings, you sit and you identify the areas that you look to target, and, you know, you have bowling plans, game plans, you're looking to execute those plans. Or with unknown commodities, like you said, some new fresh faces, there ain't no strategy. So you got to stick to the old method, saying looking to bowl in that corridor of uncertainty, looking to set him up. And if the ball turns, and you know the big difference when you're playing in India, where all international sides, when they come to India, find it difficult, is because of the SG test ball.
Sure.
It's a more prominent scene. That's why when the spinners bowl, if it turns a little bit, you'll have turn and bounce. And with a little zip, when it turns and bounces, all the overseas batsmen find it very, very difficult.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.